Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone was watching you? As if every word you said, every move you made, would be judged. That pressure is exhausting. But here's a Stoic truth: you are not the center of the universe. And that's not an insult, it's your greatest liberation. Marcus Aurelius said, "You are just a soul carrying a corpse." It sounds harsh. But it's freeing. Most people are too absorbed in their own thoughts to judge you. The truth? People don't think about you as much as you think they do. And once you accept that, you're free. Think about how many hours you've wasted, worrying about what others think. How you look. How you speak. If you're enough. But ask yourself this: when was the last time you seriously thought about someone else's mistakes? You probably didn't. Because you were busy with your own life. So why do you think others are obsessed with you? They're not. And that's the beauty of it. You don't need to perform. You don't need to impress. You're allowed to just be. In the eyes of the Stoics, this is where peace begins. Because when you stop trying to matter, you finally start living. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you." To the ego, that sounds terrifying. But to the soul, it's freeing. Because if nothing lasts, then why carry shame? Why fear failure? Or rejection, or judgment? The crowd forgets. The critics move on. And you're still here. Breathing. Growing. Becoming. The Stoic path doesn't ask you to be important. It invites you to be free. We live in a world obsessed with significance. Be unique. Be special. Be remembered. But what if true peace comes not from being remembered, but from being present? You don't have to leave a legacy to live a meaningful life. Your value doesn't increase when more people notice you. And it doesn't decrease when they forget you. Seneca said, "What progress, you ask, have I made? I have begun to be a friend to myself." That's Stoicism. Not public approval, but inner peace. Imagine the pressure we put on ourselves. To prove, to impress, to be seen. We think we're the center of attention. But in reality, most people are too caught up in their own struggles. They're not thinking about us as much as we fear. And that is liberating. You're free to fail. You're free to try again. You're free to be human. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You are a tiny soul carrying a corpse." It wasn't self-hate. It was clarity. When you stop trying to matter, life begins to unfold. Let go of the spotlight. Let go of the imaginary audience. You are not a performance. You are not a product to be consumed. You are a living soul. Evolving. Failing. Becoming. The Stoics taught that status is fleeting. So is fame. So is recognition. They are shadows, not substance. If others forget you, so what? What matters is how you live, not who's watching. That's the beginning of inner peace. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need everyone to understand you. The Stoics believed, if it's not within your control, release it. How others see you is not your responsibility. How you see yourself, that's where your power lies. Real dignity comes from integrity, not validation. You can choose peace over performance. You can choose simplicity over pretending. That is the Stoic path to freedom. Think of the vast universe, billions of stars, planets, galaxies. And then, think of yourself. How small we are. How brief our lives are. Yet we carry the weight of pride, ego, fear of judgment. The Stoics didn't teach us to hate ourselves. They taught us to put ourselves in perspective. To zoom out. To remember what truly matters. Not fame. Not applause. Not control. But virtue, wisdom, serenity, that is where your freedom begins. When you realize you're not the center of the universe, something beautiful happens. You stop performing. You stop trying to impress. You stop chasing validation. The Stoics believe that inner peace comes from letting go of what you can't control. And other people's opinions. You can't control them. So why waste your soul trying to? Real strength is not in being admired, but in being grounded, even when no one sees you. Freedom is this, doing what's right, not what's noticed. Imagine the calm that would enter your life. If you stopped worrying about what others think. If you no longer feared being forgotten. If you no longer feared being ignored. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, plagues, betrayals, yet he wrote about calm. Why? Because he let go of his image. He let go of pride. He served the greater good, without seeking applause. That is what Stoicism gives us, freedom from the illusion of importance. And in that freedom, peace is waiting. Look around, the world moves with or without you. This truth can crush the ego, or set you free. You are not the sun. You are not the center. You are a part, no more, no less. Epictetus reminded us, you are an actor in a play. But not the director. Play your role well, but don't try to control the script. This is humility, not weakness. The more you let go of needing to be everything, the more you'll feel peace in being something. Your pain often comes from your imagined importance. You expect recognition. You crave validation. But when it doesn't come, you suffer. Seneca warned, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And what is more imaginary than thinking the world owes us something? It owes us nothing. But life offers everything if we stop demanding. Freedom begins when entitlement ends. And gratitude begins when the ego bows. Why is this message so hard to accept? Because your ego whispers, you must matter. You must be seen. But Stoicism whispers something softer, just be. That is enough. You can live quietly and still live deeply. You can be invisible and still be invaluable. The oak tree doesn't need applause to stand tall. The mountain doesn't post its height to be admired. You are not here to impress. You are here to live. And that is enough. You've been taught to stand out, to shine, to be unforgettable. But what if your greatest peace lies in blending in? Not hiding, but no longer needing to be the center. Marcus Aurelius wrote, receive without pride. Let go without attachment. This is the path of the strong, not the weak. The one who knows they are small becomes vast. The one who stops trying to be everything gains clarity. To be free, you must shrink your ego, not your soul. Most suffering is ego screaming, I deserve more. But life whispers, you already have enough. The Stoics didn't chase status. They chased virtue. They weren't obsessed with being remembered. They focused on being present. Being unseen doesn't make you unworthy. Being quiet doesn't mean you're weak. You are not here to win the crowd. You are here to win yourself. That is the Stoic path. There is a strange freedom in being ordinary. No spotlight. No pressure. Just truth. When you no longer fear being overlooked, you begin to live honestly. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You show up. You serve. You let go. The Stoics were not famous for being loud. They were remembered for being wise. You don't have to be important. You just have to be aligned with your values, with your soul. You were not born to be everything for everyone. Even the sun rests. Even the moon fades. The pressure to be significant is not from nature. It's from fear. What if you were allowed to just be? No expectations. No applause. just inner stillness. The Stoics didn't try to prove their worth, they cultivated it. Quietly. Patiently. Steadily. Let the world rush. Let others chase noise. You walk slowly. With purpose. You know that greatness isn't measured in followers. It's measured in peace. In character. In restraint. Remember, anonymity can be sacred. You don't need the world to see you. If you see yourself clearly, the man who needs recognition is still a slave. But the man who walks free from praise, he is untouchable. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." If you let go of needing to matter, you begin to truly matter. Not in the world's eyes, but in the eyes of eternity. So breathe. Let the illusion fall. You are not as important as you think, and that's okay. In fact, it's liberating. Because when you stop trying to be special, you become whole. When you stop trying to be seen, you start seeing. The Stoic path is not fame, but freedom. Not applause, but alignment. Not importance, but integrity. And in that, there is peace.